Welcome to the John and Heidi Show podcast.
John and Heidi.
Here's John and Heidi.
Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Wednesday. Hey, baby, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. I'm excited today. Going to be visiting with Alan Hall. We're going to be talking about how people name their babies differently during a bear market than they do during a bull market. So, like, depending on how the economy is and how socioeconomically things are in the world, when things are good, people tend to take chances on baby names, and when things are not so good, they don't take chances. So I wonder if that means right now we should get used to some weird baby names coming out, because things are, right now, according to the info I'm reading, things are good. I guess we'll see. I'm going to ask him. Alan Hall, later in the program. Also got a quote from George Gershwin. He's that music guy, you know. Life's too mysterious. Don't take it serious. I like that. And it rhymes.
Yes, that's why you like it.
I know. I'm quirky like that. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Wednesday.
John and Heidi.
We're in that special time of year, one of my favorite times, when we celebrate with family and friends. But often that celebration involves alcohol, so please have non-alcohol options available. Sadly, too many times that's not an option, and that can lead to drinking and driving, and much worse. If you're having a party, have a plan. And remember, if you or someone you know needs help kicking a drinking problem, there's a toll-free number you can call, 800-438-0380. That's the Addiction Hope and Helpline, 1-800-438-0380.
John and Heidi.
Today is a special day, Heidi. Do you know what today is?
What is today, John?
I thought you'd never ask. It is Wednesday, December the 6th. Today is St. Nicholas Day. Yeah, it's also Mitten Tree Day, and it is Put on Your Own Shoes Day today. What the world does that mean? Put on your own shoes. Don't you put on your own shoes every day?
I don't know. Maybe they mean don't wear other people's shoes today.
Okay, so don't walk a mile in someone else's shoes today. The Mitten Tree, that's a cool concept. I know there are a lot of those things out there. We do that quite often, where we try to help out, because I think that's a cool concept. So I wonder why today is Mitten Tree Day. Do you suppose this is when it was invented, like they started it today?
I don't know.
Must be. Anyway, let's get out and celebrate one way or another on this Wednesday. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
Are you paying a bundle to have the channels you want, and even more to have a DVR to watch the shows when you want to watch them? ChannelSurferTV.com wants to help. We have a few options that could save you 45% with Dish TV. Call 1-800-818-3967. See how much you can save by cutting the cable. Plus, we can help you watch on your mobile device. Call 1-800-818-3967. This is a limited time offer that can change fast. Call 1-800-818-3967 or learn more at ChannelSurferTV.com.
John and Heidi.
Coming up, we got your brain on drugs, but first, authorities in Ohio didn't have to search very long for a burglary suspect. They walked in and found him snoozing in the house. How many times have we read stories like this now?
Lots and lots and lots of times.
Heidi makes fun of me and says they're all the same story, but then I get to some of the details on some of the stories, and they're completely different, so I believe this is a new one as well. Police woke him up and took him to jail. It is crazy how many times, though, in the last, I'd say, year and a half, we've read stories about drowsy burglars. I mean, there's a lot of them. I don't know why. Got your brain on drugs coming up.
John and Heidi.
Each day at this time, we talk about people doing dumb things under the influence, but addiction is no laughing matter. If you or someone you know needs help, there's a toll-free number you can call.
1-800-438-0380.
That's the Addiction Hope and Helpline.
1-800-438-0380.
And this is your brain on drugs. Tracy Hollingsworth Steffens, age 50, from Alusha, Florida, fled from a hit and run, but was caught when police found her urinating in the street.
Oh, that's lovely.
She was, yes. She was involved in a two-car crash at a strip mall parking lot, but left before exchanging insurance info. Police obtained a description of her vehicle. A patrolman found her stopped in the road. He also found her rather drunk outside of the car, urinating in the street.
Wow.
A witness at the scene of the crash told the police there that she was asleep behind the wheel and the car was running. She later failed a series of sobriety tests and was arrested on a bunch of different charges, but driving under the influence and damaging property and leaving an accident without providing identification, and I'm assuming public urination. I don't know. Maybe that's
super classy.
Yeah. So right there you go. I don't know. I don't know what to say. I'm not speechless often, but there you go. This has been your Brain on Drugs.
John and Heidi.
Now, big screen, little screen, Mariah Carey has been forced to cancel a couple of her shows for her Christmas tour because of illness. Do you remember last year on New Year's Eve? She kind of bombed the whole New Year's Eve special.
Yeah.
I think it's a good idea if she's not feeling well that she cancels the shows. I think that's really sad. I'm going to start praying for Mariah Carey. I always thought she was just adorable, and I don't know. And then she just kind of like vanished for years, and I'm glad that she's kind of, when I say kind of making a comeback, you know, if that's the kind of comeback you want. Film critics are calling Justice League far and away the worst movie of the year. The film's rating is being withheld from Rotten Tomatoes. That's how bad it is. Wonder Woman, the star there, Gal Gadot, am I saying that right? I don't know if I am or not, confirmed that Brett Ratner will not be involved with financing the sequel for Wonder Woman. So there you go. This has been your big screen, little screen news, and Heidi is extremely on the edge of her seat for today's stuff. Because
I'm sorry. I'm just not
don't know
interested
any
in
of these
any of that. I mean, like superhero movies and stuff, I just don't care. I'm just like, okay,
well,
that's
there's
awesome.
some people who do. And again, big screen, little screen, brought to you by...
And I certainly don't care who's paying for it.
You don't? As long as it ain't you. Big screen, little screen, brought to you by ChannelSurferTV.com.
John and Heidi.
This is the time of year to wrap up one year and begin another. For many businesses, that means a new budget is coming soon. Now, if you have some funds left in your current year's budget, we can help you make that go far. When you put words to music, they're 9 times more memorable. So let us help create a jingle for your business that you can use for years to come. If you have some funds left in the budget this year, we can help you get it done now. If you want to wait until the new year and the new budget, we can lock in a special rate now and you pay later. Learn more at RadioReallyWorks.com. RadioReallyWorks.com. Now your scoop of the day. A children's health study found that heavier newborn babies are more likely to be obese in childhood. They determined...
suppose?
Well, here's the thing. I don't think that I don't know, maybe that's true. I can tell you something that devastated me, and I found this out like, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago, 15 years ago. I remember growing up as a kid, my mother used to tell me that I was like 8 pounds, 10 ounces when I was born. Mm-hmm. And then I found my birth certificate, and I was 6 pounds, 3 ounces.
Okay.
And my brother Joe's birth certificate was 8 pounds, 10 ounces.
Okay.
She didn't even know which one of her kids. She had it mixed up, which there's 6 of us, so I get it. But I was like just devastated. I'm like, oh, all this time.
Seriously? You were devastated?
Yeah, I was just devastated that my mom had me confused with my brother. I was like, of anybody.
That's really sad,
Why him?
John.
But here's the thing. He weighed... Well, let's see, 6 pounds, 3 ounces, 8 pounds, 10 ounces, whatever the difference is here. That's a couple of pounds and a couple of ounces. 7 ounces, 2 pounds, 7 ounces, if my math is quick.
So there again,
correct.
that right there tells you this study is ridiculous because he weighs less.
I know,
than
he's a scrawny
all
little
of you.
runt. Well, when I say that, I mean, he could probably whoop me, so I shouldn't say. In case you're listening, Joe, I love you. I understand that you're not a scrawny runt, but I mean, my brother Jason and I, let's just put it this way, the wind's not going to blow us over.
Right?
We're sturdy boys. And then my brother Joe, according to this study, he should be heavier than we are, but no.
Not so much.
Not so much at all. And again, that's from the Children's Health Society. And, they probably got all the other studies they did that day right, but I don't know if I agree with this one. An Old Homesteader Steakhouse in New York City is they offered a Thanksgiving dinner for $76,000. In the story, it does not say if anybody took them up on that offer.
What on earth would that include?
I don't know. A $76,000 Thanksgiving dinner was offered. And like I said, the story that I'm reading, it was actually from before Thanksgiving, so it said they're offering. I found it way back then. I saved it. You ever do that? Do you save things on Facebook to read later and then never get back to them? I'm trying to clean up my Facebook
So that's
stuff.
all that you had? It didn't say anything about what that meal was? I would be interested in knowing what was included with
I'll have
that.
to look
That's
and
an
see.
awfully hefty bill.
Yeah, I just copied that headline because I thought that was fascinating. And again, I should know Heidi's going to grill me on these things. I should dig in deeper and know the answers. But
unless it feeds 76,000 people, that is way overpriced.
Even if it was like $3 a person or something, but $1 a person's kind of cheap. Heidi's kind of chintzy over here. But $76,000 for Thanksgiving dinner.
Wow!
Even if it was 76 people at $1,000 a plate, that's still expensive. I mean, that's a lot. A mass grave was recently discovered in Iraq, contained 400 bodies. That's really sad.
That's
I'm
very
really
sad.
sad to hear things like that. Victoria's Secret's fashion show, trying to turn things back to hopefully a little more positive light here. They're turning into a nightmare for journalists to cover because the Chinese government is not giving out enough visas. So apparently the Victoria's Secret's fashion show is in China? I don't understand.
Why?
I don't know. Let me read that story again. Maybe I'm missing something here. I got to quit copying and pasting and then moving on. The Victoria's Secret's fashion show is turning into a nightmare for journalists to cover because the Chinese government isn't giving out enough visas. So apparently they're having these in China.
I have no idea why they would do that.
Maybe that's where all the clothes are made.
Well, I'm sure they are.
I have no clue.
But you would think it'd be cheaper to fly the clothes here than it would to fly the models there. I'm just saying.
Well, if it's based on weight, maybe it is cheaper to fly the models there. And final story here for our scoop of the day on a Wednesday. The Old Vic Theatre in London has now found 20 allegations of inappropriate behavior against Kevin Spacey. 20 counts. That's crazy. So the thing I just don't understand is how this is all they're pouring out of the woodwork all at once. And I think a lot of that is people were afraid to say anything, and then all of a sudden they're going, okay, hey, now it's okay for me to say something. I just hope that the things are founded, not just somebody saying something to get some attention, because that is really sad. And sadly, that does happen. And I'm not trying to say that they all do that, because they don't. But again, this could have probably been part of big screen, little screen.
That's more interesting than Wonder Woman.
Was it really?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Hey, this has been your Scoop of the Day.
John and Heidi.
It's the most wonderful time of the year.
No more singing, please.
I'm trying to get everyone's attention to let them know that we made a list and we checked it twice.
Who made the list?
Okay, Heidi made a list, but I put it online to make it easy to find some of our favorite ideas for fun gifts.
These are my personal favorites. I have several of these items myself.
These are a few of our favorite things.
Oh my gosh.
You can see the entire list at radiosavings.com. That's radiosavings.com.
John and Heidi.
Thank you so much for listening to the John and Heidi Show. We've got a special guest joining us today. Alan Hall is a senior analyst at the Socionomics Institute, and he's also a contributing author to the book Socionomic Studies of Society and Culture. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing great, John. Thank you for having me.
And I'm really excited to visit with you because I've been reading this info here that was sent to me, and it talks about how our baby's name may have something to do with what's going on in the world, and there's different trends that you guys see. And, the thing that's cool about that is you notice there are certain names that come and go, and I never really thought anything about the socionomic portion of the world that might have something to do with that, but you say there's a correlation.
Yeah, when the social mood, the collective psychology of the country is positive, people, in the aggregate, they're more optimistic and confident about the future, and they bid up the price of stocks, and they tend to give their children more unusual names. And when the social mood is negative, people are more pessimistic and fearful about the future, and they sell stocks. And they tend to give their children more common names.
And there's, common names like, Michael and Mary and John and Jim. And then you see some other ones. I'm looking at some of the examples where, somebody named their child Moon Unit and Audio Science. So these are at different times. And it's not everybody that goes off the deep end with really bizarre names like that. But it's when people take more risks. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it shows up in the long-term data, the aggregate data that covers, everybody in the country, basically. And what you see is that from about 1880 to 2007, parents increasingly gave their children less common names, that suggests a growing interest in uniqueness and individualism over that long period of time. But this increase in unique names is not a straight line. It fluctuates. A number of researchers have observed this, but we were the first ones to point out back in 2010 that the baby naming tendency fluctuates in sync with the inflation-adjusted stock market, which reflects the aggregate levels of optimism and pessimism in a society. So there are a couple ways to track this fluctuation. The first is by looking at the percentage of babies named one of the top 50 or top 100 names, the more common names. And that percentage fluctuates with social mood. When the markets are in big uptrends, it drops. And when the markets are in big downtrends, people retreat to the more common names for their babies, and they retreat to safer investments for their money. So during that big bear market in the 1930s, for example, people retreated to more common, ordinary names for their kids. And the second way you track the fluctuation is by tracking the number of new names that enter the census, and that also shows the same kind of fluctuations.
Again, our guest today, Alan Hall, and he is a senior analyst at Socionomics Institute and a contributing author to this book that we're talking about, Socionomic Studies of Science and Culture. Now, how long did it take to put this together? Is this a study that you guys worked on for a long time?
Well, you publish a short study, and then you go back to it a few years later, and you update it. So we observed these researchers talking about baby names, found this correlation with the stock market, and then we went back several times and updated the study, and we just published a new issue of the Socionomist, our monthly publication, yesterday with a new baby names article in it. So, what we think is going on here is that people tend to give their children increasingly unique names during bull markets and ordinary names during bear markets. And we think that tendency to choose ordinary names during bear markets reflects an evolutionary survival tactic, which is to blend in with the herd in times of fear and uncertainty. It's logical, during bear markets, parents unconsciously fear that an unusual name might hurt their children's future job prospects or make them get picked on in school or fit in, make them have trouble fitting in. But maybe during bull markets, parents feel that an unusual name will help their kids stand out in a positive way.
Well, that's absolutely fascinating to me, Alan. Thank you for taking some time to visit with us and explain this to us.
Sure.
And the book is called Socionomic Studies of Society and Culture. It's available right now. I'm going to make it really easy for you to find because I'm throwing a link to it at facebook.com/John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
We're in that special time of year, one of my favorite times when we celebrate with family and friends. But often that celebration involves alcohol, so please have non-alcohol options available. Sadly, too many times that's not an option, and that can lead to drinking and driving, and much worse. If you're having a party, have a plan. And remember, if you or someone you know needs help kicking a drinking problem, there's a toll-free number you can call, 800-438-0380. That's the Addiction Hope and Helpline, 1-800-438-0380.
John and Heidi.
Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
Hewlett-Packard got their name. It was decided in a coin toss.
Ah.
They were trying to figure out, okay.
That's a good way to name your business.
Yeah, what the heck? You got to come up with something. Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
The Pokemon Hitmonlee and Hitmonach are based off of Bruce Lee and Jackie Chan. I think I'm saying it wrong. Hitmonlee and Hitmonchan. That's probably how you say it. Bruce Lee
idea.
and Jackie Chan. I don't know. Can you tell I'm really not up on my Pokies? Am I saying that right even? Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
The arctophile is a person who collects or is very fond of teddy bears. So if you are a teddy bear collector, you're an arctophile.
That could have been our grandiloquent word of the day.
It could have been. We'll get to that here in a little bit, though. But our final fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
Pirates wore earrings because they believed it improved their eyesight. Well, I'm not sure how that works.
I don't think so. And according to my dad, they won't drown.
Exactly. I don't know. I just don't get it. This has been a couple of fun facts, courtesy of our friends at radiosavings.com.
John and Heidi.
It's the most wonderful time of the year.
No more singing, please.
I'm trying to get everyone's attention to let them know that we made a list and we checked it twice.
Who made the list?
Okay, Heidi made a list, but I put it online to make it easy to find some of our favorite ideas for fun gifts.
These are my personal favorites. I have several of these items myself.
These are a few of our favorite things.
Oh my gosh.
You can see the entire list at radiosavings.com. That's radiosavings.com.
John and Heidi.
Now your grandiloquent word of the day, and Heidi actually is going to smile because she knows this word. Are you ready for the word?
I am.
Malarkey.
Yeah.
You've heard that word before?
I have heard that word before.
She's been
It's
referred
a bunch
to.
of malarkey.
She's heard it a lot because she is so full of malarkey. Malarkey, by the way, is M-A-L-A-R-K-E-Y, malarkey. It's a noun, insincere or foolish talk. I'm so tired of listening to that load of malarkey. Heidi's hometown has a bar named
called Malarkey's. That's where we met.
Yeah, that's why I knew that Heidi would know this one. So there you go. This is a word we can use every day.
We could. We could use this word.
Want to be full of malarkey? See, we could squeeze it into sentences here in a malarkeyous way.
A malarkeyous way?
Probably not. I'm pretty sure I just misused the word. Either way, this has been your grandiloquent word of the day.
John and Heidi.
Are you paying a bundle to have the channels you want? And even more to have a DVR to watch the shows when you want to watch them? ChannelSurferTV.com wants to help. We have a few options that could save you 45% with Dish TV. Call 1-800-818-3967. See how much you can save by cutting the cable. Plus, we can help you watch on your mobile device. Call 1-800-818-3967. This is a limited time offer that can change fast. Call 1-800-818-3967 or learn more at ChannelSurferTV.com.
John and Heidi.
Now some weird news for Wednesday. Lauren Grabber is suing to keep his vanity plate Grabber after Nova Scotia Transportation Department revoked it because it was deemed inappropriate. Grabber is spelled Grabher, Grabber. He's a retiree in Nova Scotia, said his namesake plate has been in the family on the vehicle for 27 years, and now the province suddenly revoked it. Canada is not a country, this is a quote by the way, Canada is not a country where a person gets to be offended at everything, end quote. He wrote that in an affidavit filed in the Nova Scotia Supreme Court. He took it to the Supreme Court?
You know
Wow.
what? Good for him. I wish more people would stand up for themselves in this country.
Well, Grabber said he is proud of his surname, which shows Austrian-German heritage. His case is not scheduled to be heard until September of next year. And I've got a link to the story if you'd like to see it and read it and all of that. It's on our Facebook page. That's facebook.com/John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
Now your moment of duh. Second story in a row from Canada. This is a Vancouver man. He was arrested for taking distracted driving to a whole new level. He had an iPad and an iPhone attached to his steering wheel. Yeah. Police say they spotted the man wearing headphones and noticed a tablet and a mobile phone attached to the wheel. Police educating the driver about dangers of using devices in his car, and then they let him off with a warning. However, when he was unable to produce a driver's license, he was fined.
Oh,
Guess how much the fine was
man.
for that in Vancouver?
How much?
$62.
Are you kidding?
No, I think that's funny. That is my favorite piece of that whole story. Oh,
Wow.
you don't have a driver's license? No, I don't have one. All right, well, here's a fine of $62.
Here.
You'd have been arrested.
Oh, yeah, here. That's a big deal.
Oh, boy. That's...
Jeepers.
I don't know why I find that so funny. But... All right, thanks for listening to your moment of duh.
John and Heidi.
This is the time of year to wrap up one year and begin another. For many businesses, that means a new budget is coming soon. Now, if you have some funds left in your current year's budget, we can help you make that go far. When you put words to music, they're 9 times more memorable. So let us help create a jingle for your business that you can use for years to come. If you have some funds left in the budget this year, we can help you get it done now. If you want to wait until the new year and the new budget, we can lock in a special rate now and you pay later. Learn more at RadioReallyWorks.com. RadioReallyWorks.com. Coming up, we got some good news. I think this could actually be deemed good news as well. A long-lost Leonardo da Vinci painting is expected to fetch $100 million at auction. It's good news if it's your painting. Not so good news if you're the one that wants to buy that painting. But it's a long-lost Leonardo da Vinci.
Why don't we ever have anything like that?
I don't know. I don't even have a Leonardo DiCaprio. I mean, I saw him sketch a girl on a Titanic once. You'd think that's got to be worth something. But Leonardo da Vinci... That's a whole different Leonardo, and his artwork is worth some money. $100 million is what it's expected to fetch.
We need to get ourselves one
what
of those.
What would you do with a $100 million painting?
I mean, sell it.
but I'm saying if they purchase, if you buy that, what do you do with something like that?
You hang it up.
Where? I mean, where could you possibly hang it?
In your bathroom.
Can you imagine that? Going to someone's house, you're like, I love that painting. Yeah, I bought that at auction. It was $100 million. Sorry, I just wiped my hands on it. I couldn't find a towel. No, that's...
Hang it right next to the poster of the cat hanging from the tree. It says, hang in there. That's where I'd put it. Right next to that poster.
All right, we got some good news coming your way.
John and Heidi.
This portion of the John and Heidi Show is brought to you by the John and Heidi Show. That sounds kind of funny, but it's true. Go to your local radio station and ask them to start carrying the John and Heidi Show. Here's the best part. They can carry the show for free. They play a couple commercials, but it doesn't cost them anything every month. So if you know a radio station that could use a little bit of help, send them our way. Send them to johnandheidishow.com. Again, johnandheidishow.com. We would love to do a radio program in your community. Then you could listen to the podcast and listen to us on the radio.
John and Heidi.
We always like to wrap things up around here with some good news, and I think this is just a cool story. This was not sent to me by Heidi, by the way. I don't even know if you've seen this one yet. It says, here's a story. It says, earlier today, officers responded to the Bank of America in Montebello, California, regarding a patron who was causing a disturbance. Upon arrival, they discovered a 92-year-old man was trying to withdraw money from his account. However, his California ID card was expired, and due to the bank's policy, his ID was expired. They were unable to fulfill his request, so then all of a sudden they said he became unruly. Well, he was just trying to get his money. The gentleman was upset. The police were called. Once the officers arrived, Officer Robert Joseph decided to take the man to the DMV and help him renew his ID card. With the assistance of the DMV, his ID card was renewed. He was taken back to the bank, at which time he was able to withdraw his money from his account. He thanked Officer Joseph and went on his way. There's a photo here of this 92-year-old man. See that? He's holding on to the police officer's arm. Can you see that over there?
Yes.
Isn't that just adorable?
That is sweet.
And that right there is an awesome story. And I'm glad to share good stories about good police officers because there's so many of them out there. This type of thing happens thousands of times every week and doesn't get reported. At any time one little negative thing happens, it gets reported a bunch. So hats off to the boys and girls in blue, or the men and women in blue. We are big fans. So, again, when I saw that story, Dennis is the one that sent that. He posted it on Facebook, and I just said, hey, I'm going to share this.
You stole it?
I didn't steal it. I told him I was going to share it. But I've got a link to it, and you can see it. You can see who sent it. I'm not trying to claim that it was mine. I just think it's really cool that it's out there, and it's a neat story.
I love our law enforcement. We're very, very fortunate to have them in this country.
We absolutely are. All right, time to say goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, everybody. If you'd like to see that story or a lot of the other fun things that we talk about, we always try to put links to the most important things at facebook.com/John and Heidi Show.